Welcome, this is the complete guide to toy soldiers. Let's walk over some fundamentals before we start. Toy soldiers combines tower defense with building. There will be grey soldiers spawning at the edges of the map, and what you have to do is to wipe out all of them. It's easy, right? Well, it's not that simple. You're armed with a few blocks and a couple of soldiers, and what you have to do is set up your build in a way where your soldiers will be able to do the most damage, but they are best protected by your blocks. In the shop, you can buy crates that give you soldiers and blocks. However, you can get them for a cheaper price if you decide to randomize the rewards. I think you should randomize rewards during the early games, but you should stop buying randomized crates when you're in World 2 or close to it, as the money you make at that point is enough to cover the higher costs. You can also merge stuff together to get better items. As well, you are able to save a couple builds for free in the save section, but you can still get more saves if you're more experienced or you have game passes. Building is the first half of the game. You have to use these blocks to protect your soldiers in the best way against enemies. Of course, different blocks will have different durability stats, and so I recommend placing the most durable bricks in the most vital areas. One of the best practices to do in this game is to elevate your soldiers. Just make sure they earn any premature deaths that you can get on the ground, and the enemies will have to drill through the entire bottom for them to even get a chance to wipe out your soldiers. Of course, this is different in World 2 with pistols. In this case, put the less durable blocks like paper on like the edges of the building, and center the most vital areas with the most durable blocks that you have to delay the enemies for as long as possible. Merging for blocks is usually done just for higher durability. The most durable blocks on the shop is the plastic cubes, and these are not even close to the most durable blocks that you can find in the game. The most durable are the Voidium versions of these blocks, which have a very hefty block requirement before you can merge them. When you start off, merging is not too important for blocks, as the stuff you get from crates typically is enough, but once you get into World 2, that's when it becomes really important. Soldiers are the other half of the game. I recommend keeping your soldiers centered or at least close together for World 1. This is because keeping your soldiers at the center of the map means the enemies have to walk all the way over to you, which makes it easier. However, if you're in World 2, you have the option of putting it at like one side, so your soldiers are able to deal with just one side of enemies, but both are equally valid for World 2. Merging soldiers is typically a bit more complicated compared to blocks. Of course, you can still beat the beginner levels with just SMGs and auto rifles, but merging becomes quite important really quickly, by like the middle of World 1. When you're starting out, automatics save you a lot of the time. This is because the pistols you receive at the start of the game typically are slow to turn, do little damage, and although you can merge them into revolvers, I recommend investing into SMGs from the second crate, because SMGs give you some really good items later on, like the rockets. Next, the more explosive soldiers like the rocket, homing rocket, and the mortar. These are best for single enemies, as the damage they do in one hit is insane, which is great for the tank, but it's not so great for single enemies, as the time it takes to recharge is huge. This is kind of exception for the mortar, which right next to the minigun is my favorite soldier in the game. The spread of this guy is huge, making it great for crowd control compared to the rockets. However, the attack isn't as strong as the homing rockets, so it makes them less useful for stuff like the tank. But in ordinary games, this thing shreds. You should get one if you have the resources. And now the tank. This is a single enemy, and so my advice for this level is just spam rockets. This is because spamming rockets does the most damage to a single opponent, and in this case, there's only one enemy here. It plays right into your advantage. Due to the tank's attacks, I don't recommend building structures, but more of a bunker and placing rockets inside. That way your homing missile can do the most damage, but the automatics in this case wouldn't be as effective as the missiles with the tank. Here's some extra tips before I send you off. How do you earn money quickly? Simply just replay the highest wave that you have. You can try your hand at the medium and hard difficulties too if you want to earn cash as well, but from my experience, if you're in World 2 already, that will give you way more money than World 1 levels. You don't have to complete World 1's medium and hard to progress into World 2 just yet. And yeah, play with friends. Playing with friends allows you to strategize builds together, combine resources, and in my opinion, it's the best way to play it. Playing this thing solo is like putting a piece of bread on top of another piece of bread. It's not fun. And yeah, that's about it. Watch this video if you want to see more of me, and I'll see you there.